Here's one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin' the Biscuit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sling the Biscuit as a part of our interview series. Today's guest was an 8th round pick by the Oshawa Generals in O Vegas and the OHL. This guy has 155 games played in the easy come, hard to leave league, an absolute journeyman, one of the all-time highest save percentages in American Hockey League playoff history, as well as the East Coast hockey history. He is the Grant Fuhrer Goaltender of the Year recipient and a Memorial Cup champion. Welcome to the show, Jeremy Brodeur.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys.
I'm gonna come out swinging here, man. I'm a huge golf fan, and I love following golf. I don't know if you golf or not, but I got a question to ask you because I think you're one of. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. You got the Masters hat on. Okay, good. I'm asking the right guy. I think you're one of the very few people that could probably answer this with some really close parallels to draw. But Charlie Woods, where is Charlie Woods in his head right now as far as his golf career being the son of Tiger Woods?
Like, where's the, you want me to put it in hockey terms?
Well, I mean, as far as, you having the father doing what he did and then coming into the league and, Charlie's coming into a situation where he's coming very close. He's going to be in college right away and then, about to hit pro. I mean, where's his head at?
I think he's right where he wants to be, right? Like, he has a lot of attention around him. Obviously, even if he wasn't as good as he is, he would have that same attention, I think. But he, he's a really good golfer, so it's fun to watch him. So my older brother used to be a professional golfer, so he plays in all the amateur events down in Florida now. And one of the events, Charlie was playing the group in front of us, so it was pretty cool to watch him, kind of play in front of 150 people, whatever it was, following him around on the course and stuff. And I don't know what he actually shot that day, but I know in recent he's been doing pretty good. So it seems like he handles it great, and I think he's going to be a golfer. So,
well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, as there was no doubt that you were going to be a goaltender. But I mean, can he kind of draw parallels, looking at him, going, "I know what he's going through"?
Yeah, I think to a degree. I think he might be on a. I don't know. I think he's probably on a bit of a bigger scale, especially with the way social media is nowadays compared to when I was growing up. But nowadays, you see everything about this kid's life right now. So you know what schools he's talking to or whatever's going on. So definitely probably a bit more pressure than what I did growing up. I just grew up knowing that when I got scored on, the kid was going to go home and tell us boys he scored on Martin Brodeur's kid. But
well, and that's kind of what I get to, because I mean, I'm sure your father didn't put a lot of expectations on you. I might be wrong in that, but you had ones of your own, and I'm sure Charlie has ones of his own, maybe realizing that he's not going to win 16 majors, but, probably has a goal that he wants to set on his own outside of what his father did.
Yeah, for me, it was, hockey was, it was always fun. Growing up, I never really thought about, hey, I want to make it to the NHL. It wasn't really something I thought about until, as soon as you get to that major junior level, then you're like, holy smokes, all these guys are, unbelievable. Or even I guess it really settled in for me. I went to boarding school in Minnesota, and then you got the best of the best kids all flying in from all these countries, and we're all living on this campus, trying to get better every day at hockey and, do our school in that way. So, for me, it never really, hockey means, even to this day, hockey will always be fun for me. And I do think that is a mentality that I keep. That's kind of, led me to being able to play 9 years and not burn out after 3 or whatever it is.
Well, I think keeping it fun is the key. And I mean, that's advice I think anybody would give, whether they're in the game, out of the game, or on their way to the game, is have it fun. And I mean, you've done a really good job of making travel part of your experience. I mean, you've played over in England, you've played over in some really obscure places like Budapest. You say, like you said, you've been in Minnesota. You've gotten to see a lot of the world, man, and I'm sure your worldview on a lot of things is probably different than your average bear.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've lived in a lot of places. I've been to a lot of places. Like you said, like Budapest, that was a wild one. Pretty cool country to go live in for 4 or 5 months, and England also is pretty cool. Definitely a little more familiar of a country than, going over to Eastern Europe. But, everyone speaks English, so it's not too hard to get around. But in Budapest, and when you can't figure out what train stop to get off of, and you got no one to ask. It's tough.
So when you say you grew up, obviously where your dad played, did you guys grow up in Jersey or was it in New York City?
Yeah, so I'm in Jersey now still. I always grew up in Jersey. He currently resides out in St. Louis. He's got another 15-year-old growing up out there playing hockey. So he lives out there.
Are your neighbors with Pete Davidson, I'm assuming then?
No, not quite.
So Jersey's still home for you? Is that kind of like the home base?
Yeah, Jersey's home base. My fiance is from Long Island too, so we're probably we love it up in the East Coast here. So it's always been home base growing up, and obviously I haven't been home. I'm only home in the summers, right? Like ever since I was 14 years old, like shipped off to boarding school in Minnesota. So ever since 14, it's only been summers in Jersey, but yeah, home base here.
And by the way, congratulations. The fiance is a new word in your vocabulary, I understand.
Yeah, it is, but it's exciting. It's fun. Thank you.
Good for you. How long have you guys been together? Has she been through all the trials and tribulations of the travel?
She hasn't been through it all. We started dating right before I left for England. So, yeah, so she wasn't part of the whole Budapest fiasco or any of that, but it's been 3 years. So
when you say fiasco, let's fill everyone in a little bit on why Budapest, how Budapest, and what is Budapest.
Well, the why is just I got cut in my team. I think I was in Atlanta. I signed there, and then they got a couple guys sent down to them, and then I went to the SPHL. Didn't feel like the competition was like too hard, too great. So I got a call with an opportunity to just go over there and kind of see what it was. I didn't really know what to expect or what it was, and it was fun. Like it was one of my favorite cities in the world, I'd say. Like it's unbelievable. It's kind of a hidden gem. I don't think too many people think about Budapest when they think about cool cities, but
or even think about hockey. I mean, that's not exactly a hot spot, but once you get there, you realize that there are fans.
Oh yeah, no, there's there's some teams in some bigger leagues up in Hungary too, as well. So I mean, there was like 6 teams, 6 different rinks, all in the inner city of Budapest. Then you travel to Romania, and there's you're getting 3,000 fans a night in those rinks too. Like it's pretty cool.
So why not stay?
I mean, it wasn't really the level of hockey I was trying to play at. It was kind of just felt like more of an experience, and kind of gain some confidence back. And I mean, I would like to go back to Europe maybe, but it is it's tough because you kind of want to find the right situation, or rather the perfect situation, because it is a big risk. Like you go over there and they think you're something, and if you're not exactly that, like people get upset, right? So it's a big leap to go over to Europe. I'm sure as Trav knows too. Like you go places and and you're alone. Like it's you and if someone, like there's no one in your corner really, right? So like unless you can get yourself in a really nice situation where you're guaranteed this, guaranteed that, or know a coach maybe or something, like it's kind of a hard leap to make, I find.
Well, and Travis spoke about this at great length, but going from different countries and different rink sizes, obviously, but being as omnipotent as you are, being a goaltender, seeing at the back of the rink, have you noticed a different style of play from country to country?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it all starts with the rink size too. You get a bigger rink, there's a lot more room. The game's more slowed down. Like your angles are a lot different in a bigger rink, which kind of that takes like a month or 2 to get adjusted. Just guys come wide, you realize you don't have to step out or whatever it is, or if a pass is coming across, like you can get there on your feet or whatever it is. Like there's so many different variables when you come with the extra 7 feet on each side of the rink.
Watch those post integrations, right?
Yeah, and then you get to a place like England where like every rink's a different size, so then you're just guessing.
Well, that's one thing I truly miss, and it's one thing that baseball still kind of has the they've cornered the market now. But I mean, back in the old days, they would talk about if you're going to Boston Gardens, don't go into the corners; they cut off quick. And I think that really kind of took away, once they went to a uniform rink across most leagues, is that it took away that home ice advantage. Basically, the only advantage you had was the fans, and that was about it. Outside of that, the boards were the same, the ice was the same, links were the same. I liked it when the rinks were a little bit different.
Yeah, no, I do think it's fun and it keeps things fresh, right? like when I played in Manchester, our rink there was like a shoebox. It was like guys cross the blue or he's on the half wall, like that puck's coming at you. And then you go to another place like Nottingham or Belfast where it's like the rink just feels like an open field. You feel like you're on a soccer pitch out there.
There was a team when I was in Sweden. Everybody would have the European style rinks, but for whatever reason, this one team they had like a 3-on-3 style rink.
Ooh.
So, like I'm walking in there, I'm looking at the rink, I'm saying to the guys, "This looks pretty small. Is this regulation? Oh no, it's a 3-on-3 rink." Well, this is going to be an interesting penalty kill tonight,
Yeah, no
which
kidding.
I'm sure you know all about, J-Bone. Can I ask too? You alluded to it before we started recording the show, but I remember it must have been like Christmas time of 21. Us FaceTiming. You were over in Budapest, or I think you just come back from Budapest. I was in Norway, and you're telling me about the gong show over there. So, do you mind touching on that a bit?
Yeah, I mean, it was just such a different like culture, like just the culture in general than America is different. And then like as far as like, you know, like when you play pro hockey, like you have your standards, right? Like there's, you know, your gitch gets washed here, like you get towels, and then like all of a sudden it's like, okay, bring your own bar of soap, you know, bring your own towel. It's just like everything's like it's so different. And even like there's some higher leagues, it's even the same way. It's just like, you know, like guys don't get their skates sharpened every day or whatever because like the guy's just like the guy doesn't want to do it or you know like whatever it is. And then you got the other part where it's like you got these Hungarian dudes just like blasting EDM music at 7:30 in the morning, and it's just it's just different. Like it was so much fun though. I loved being there.
Did you have to bring your own shampoo and towels to the rink?
Oh yeah, at that yeah for sure.
How was the food?
Food was actually, I liked the food. I mean, you could always get whatever you wanted, especially like, and I think in most places in any big city, you could, if like, you can find what you're looking for. But like, as far as like Hungarian food and stuff, like I did really enjoy all the food there.
What was your reaction after practice? You're having the post-practice shower. Who's got poo? Oh, you got to bring your own. I guess I'll do the
I just remember my first day, I didn't bring a towel. And I was like, okay, well.
using the jersey.
Yeah, I guess I'll just put my clothes on and hit the tram.
Sounds like going back and playing bantam hockey again.
Yeah.
Can I use your towel after you're done?
Oh, I hate it. Can I use it after you're done? No, that's so gross. J-Bone, do you remember guys like that growing up?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh. Remember there was this one guy I played AAA hockey with. He'd never bring shampoo or a towel. And some guys would give him a towel. Sometimes he wouldn't. And I remember one day he couldn't. Like nobody would give him any. So he used the hand soap from the bathroom and the paper towel dispenser to dry off.
Been there, done that. Yeah, been there, done that.
Oh, man.
When you first went to Oshawa, and listen, I know that you talked about culture shocks, but as far as growing up playing the majority of your minor hockey in the Jersey area and then going into Oshawa, which isn't a far drive, honestly, but literally crossing the border, did you notice a big difference?
I mean, generally I've been pretty familiar with Canada, and I would say Montreal's a lot different than Toronto. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it was definitely a lot different. Like when I went up to junior, like it was, you know, I think I was like 17, turning 18 the next, you know, in a month, and like it was like my first time having a car, and like that was my first long drive was Jersey to Oshawa, like by myself, and like, you know, like my, you know, like phone didn't have like maps back then or whatever it was, so like I was using my nav system, and then that thing would mess up, and I was just like getting lost in the rain and.
The dark ages, you poor things. You didn't listen. My generation had to pull out a map and put it up on the windshield.
Oh yeah, or print them out.
Remember MapQuest? You used to get all the papers. Yeah, okay, that looks good. Oh, this doesn't look. I remember those days. At the very edge of that.
Paper's wrong.
Oh,
We noticed the Oshawa General jerseys up in the back there. It looks good.
Yeah, no, thank you. That was a nice gift from them after you know, I graduated from the OHL.
you have to be like one of the all-time like wins leaders or games played leaders because you're up there for Jen's goaltenders, right?
I think I don't know about wins. I think I'm definitely up there for shutout. I think I'm leading for shutouts.
It's a good stat. That's a good stat to have.
I think I got shutouts, and it's not even that much. It's like 12.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong too. I remember when you were in Oshawa, you were one of the first guys to get the Bauer Odin stuff. You were like one of the first OG Bauer goalies. Is that far off?
No, that's spot on. I think like as far as juniors, like the first ever guy was obviously Lundqvist that had it in the outdoor series game. But then like our team was such a big Bauer sponsor, so like after my first year I was in Vaughn's, you know, like my team called me, they're like, hey, like Bauer, you know, they're really trying to push this new gear. So like they sent me a set. They had like a Total One graphic printed on there. I think it was. I got some pictures on my Instagram somewhere of that, but
I remember
yeah, it had
that.
like a Total One graphic. It was like the original Odin's 1S or whatever the name was of the first one.
You don't have it in the shed somewhere in the back? You didn't keep any of that stuff?
God, I think the team kept them. I put them somewhere. I go through so many pads. It's tough.
I got to ask you this question. Now, Travis listed off your accolades at the very beginning, and we were talking again, shutout leader and all these great stats that you have, even through pro hockey, and all the places that you played. Do you find it a little hard to believe that, not to say that the East Coast isn't a good hockey league, it's a very good hockey league, but the fact that, the American Hockey League hasn't been clamoring to get a guy like you, is that frustrating?
I would say it's frustrating. There's probably, reasons to it, like being only 6'1", not being like the tallest of guys out there anymore. Like I think like this year I'll be at camp in Jersey and I think I'll be the shortest guy by 3 or 4 inches. But yeah, I always tried to put my best foot forward wherever I was. And, every time I've been up to the AHL, I feel like I've done that. I think I've had like a career 920 or something in the 12 or 10 games I've played in the AHL.
Most teams would kill for a goaltender with stats like that.
Yeah. It's obviously a small sample size and situational, but yeah, obviously biting at the chomp for an opportunity as always, I've kind of grown into like that older guy, like mentor role now, which is kind of why I'm back in Utica. I would say, they have a lot of young prospects in their pipeline. So like they want someone, kind of like me to be around. And then like, if need be, like they know I can play. Like last year was kind of similar. Like every time I went up, like I think I was up for 90 days up in Utica and I got 4 starts and won all 4 of them. Had a good season in that regard. But yeah, definitely something I want to do, that's the fun thing about goalie though, is like, there's guys that break out in the NHL at 30, 31, not saying that that's in the ballpark for me, but like, you never, an injury or, like a good opportunity pops up, goalie's one of those things where it's really opportunistic. Right. So
correct me if I'm wrong. Well, the most famous of all the Brodeurs, Mike Brodeur, he broke in with the Senators at 30, did he not?
I have no clue.
Is he related, Michael Brodeur?
No, he's not. He's not related.
Oh, I remember he came in 08, 09. He had that nasty Vaughn V3 setup and came in with the Senators.
I want to run this past you, and we've talked about this on the show before, but the days of when your old man played, when he was playing 65 plus games and playing every single game in the playoffs, those games are done. Those years are done. Goaltenders, if you want to get into the playoffs, 50 is even stretching it a little bit. I don't think we're too far away from seeing NHL teams, most pro teams, carrying 3 goaltenders on their roster and having maybe 2 of them on the bench, or having them in a rotation where your starter maybe starts 40 games and the other 2 take 20 each. Is that something that, especially with the amount of goaltenders, like you said, all these prospects coming up, there are so many goaltenders these days. Is it a crazy idea? Is it something that you'd want to see?
Obviously would love to see it. That just gives everyone else an extra job in our line of work. But well, I think that's why they're implementing that e-bug rule, like that fully salaried e-bug guy that can be around at all times type of thing.
Like the guy that sits in the top and can be available for both teams?
No. So I think starting the 26-27 season, I don't know if you saw that. It was on like the internet probably about 2 months ago, maybe.
Yeah, they're getting $100,000 a year to be a full-time.
80 to 150,000 a year, whatever it is. Each team you've got, he's hired, like, you're there every single day for practice. Like you travel on the road with the team. Everyone has their own, and he's like the e-bug for your team. But that's kind of where they're going with it. I think they're kind of grabbing like college guys and stuff, because like I think like they have qualifications where you can't have played X amount of pro games or whatever. But like if there's a college guy that doesn't want to sign in the ECHL, so you could like go see NHL shots for a year or 2 and then try to get developed that way as an e-bug type of thing.
Interesting. And you could speak to this more than we could playing over in England, but to me it kind of sounds like the way they recruit players at, as early as 12, 13, 14, just kind of having them sit in the sidelines like, hey, you're our property, but you're not quite pro yet.
Yeah. It must be. It's a very new idea. It doesn't come along, so I'm sure they're going to have more details about it over the next year or maybe next summer or whatever it is. But that's kind of like how I think they're going to attack that, right? Is just to have an extra guy. So like if guys need days off, like your starters that are playing 50, 60, your Hellebucks or whatever, like they don't have to practice because they're going to have another real goalie there.
Is there anything you could cherry pick from the leagues that you've played in that you like and that you don't like, that you would, if you could pick your perfect league, like this things that you liked about other leagues that you could take and put into one that you wanted to play in?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the AHL being like the highest league I've played in was, just like the level of play has been, it's eye opening, right? Like it almost feels like it's easier to play in the AHL, just like the way, like if you're skilled enough and you can process information quick, like things happen a lot cleaner, and then you can make your reads much easier when you play it at a higher level, I find. And then like, I go over, like when I played in England, I would say I would take the passion that the fans bring over there. Like they treat it like a soccer match. You got the drums, everything. You got like guys like going on the ice chugging a beer as like their third star celebration. Like it's crazy. Like you got all these things going on over there that are just so much fun, that make get people more engaged. The drums, the flags, the chants, instead of like your kind of cookie cutter North American audience, in Toronto or whatever it may be.
No, that's fair. I agree with you 100%. I always find it interesting watching whatever sport it may be over in Europe, where they don't have in-house announcers like I used to do. They don't have games in between whistles. They don't have music. The fans take care of all that themselves, and they'll write brand new songs before the game and then hand out papers to everybody. Yeah, I agree. It's the fans that kind of make the atmosphere.
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of my biggest takeaway from England was, like as good, like it is actually a good league. Like there's really, like, I think it gets a bad rap just because it's in England and it's not really a hockey country or
hotbed. Yeah.
Hotbed. But, like that league's every year gets better and better. And like you saw, I mean, I don't know how much you guys pay attention to like Champions League hockey.
Mm-hmm.
But like last year, like the British team made it to pool play. Like they beat some Swedish teams. They lost in overtime to 2 Swiss teams. They beat a Czech team. Like, so like the levels started to become pretty serious over there.
I've got a good buddy over there, champion coach of the Nottingham Panthers this year, Danny Stewart. So he's he's one of the biggest advocates of the league and how good it's getting, and he equates it now. He goes, it's getting close, if not a little bit better than the East Coast Hockey League as far as the level of play. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Like, the East Coast is so spotty because it's really like the general level of play is good, but like it's really all dependent on what's getting sent down to you per organization. Like, I mean, nowadays every team's gonna have 2 like NHL contract goalies almost, and then like it's all about if your team's gonna send you some NHL contract forwards or defensemen rather, or even AHL contracted people as well, right? So like, you have the teams that have 12, 13 guys that are on contracts with the Toronto Maple Leafs or whatever it is, or whichever team.
Going back to your talk about, the American League and processing as far as how quickly the play moves, I've always said one of the biggest differences between the NHL and the American League is your third and fourth line is always interchangeable with your first and second line from the National League to the American League. But passing to me is the biggest telltale of the difference between the NHL and the American League. What would be that metric between the American League and the East Coast League?
I think it's pretty similar. It's I think the word is execution, right? It's like if you have no pressure and this is open, like this pass will be made 100% of the time, or like, this guy's not missing the net in this situation, or, but like it really just boils down to like the execution becomes better and better as you ladder up.
I want to ask you about I want to call it a journeyman career through through the East Coast Hockey League. Because when I go through your hockey DB, your elite prospects, with the amount of teams and how many games played and how consistent you've been, like there's so many guys that would have called it quits way, way earlier, but here you are. And like, I don't know about you, Dave, I can smell the passion on this guy through the Zoom call. Like this guy he loves eating pucks, and obviously he's going to continue doing it. Congrats on the new deal at Utica. But are there any moments along the way where maybe you've spun it in a way where you're like, this is tough, but this is still a pretty good day. I get to be a professional hockey goaltender? Or how exactly did you carve your way through, I think 8 years of being a professional goalie?
Yes, I'll be in year 9 next year. So I'll take you through how my pro career started was, I mean, it was rocky to begin with, so I think I kind of set that as like a low or a standard rather. So I came out of junior and I was up for goalie of the year with two other goalies. I forget who they were back then, but I know Tyler Parsons is one of them. I can't remember the other one, but
Legend.
yeah. So I come out like thinking, I'll probably get an AHL, maybe an NHL deal, right? Like top 3 goalie in the OHL for that season. That doesn't happen, and then I get a call from my agent. He goes, "Hey, like this team down in Wichita, like would love to have you. So you should go sign there." So I do that, and my agent calls again. He's like, "Great, like I'm gonna get you at camp with the Rangers, and then after that, like you can go to the AHL camp for the Wichita's team, which was up in Rockford at the time, or I think Rockford just wanted me at camp, whatever it was. I don't remember. It was so long ago. So I did camp in New York with Lundqvist and stuff. So that was kind of a cool start to my pro career, being at an NHL camp with Henrik Lundqvist. A week goes by, they cut you, and then I went to Rockford. 6 goalies got there a day after me, cut me, and this is I'm all in my car, right, going from New York to Rockford, Illinois, then all the way down to Wichita, Kansas. Went down. Then they sent Stu Skinner down, cut me, and I was like, oh boy, like maybe I should probably just go to school. I was kind of sitting in my apartment, kind of thinking like, all right, well, like I'm in Wichita, Kansas here. Like I'm not sure what we're doing. Got a call for a team in Evansville. Where's that? Indiana. Yeah.
Yep.
So Evansville, Indiana comes around in the SPHL. I'm like, great. Like didn't think we were going to be starting here, but here we are like 3 weeks later, and then went through their whole training camp and I didn't even get the first start of the season. And I was like, all right, this is crazy. Like, I'm going to school. And then the coach called me after the game and said, hey, I didn't start you because the team in Allen wanted to bring you up. And that's kind of where my career actually started, was in Allen, Texas, because a goalie had a career-ending injury there, I think. So then ended up playing 35-plus games that year, getting a call up to San Jose, and then that's kind of how everything started.
What kind of car are you driving? You must have been putting on the miles with that one.
Oh, yeah, it was a Jeep Cherokee back then.
Old reliable, old dependable.
Not really. That thing had some issues for sure. I mean, yeah, so that's kind of like how my first year went. So then anytime, where I had situations where, we're driving here to this to get cut here, like it didn't really faze me too much, I think, because I went through so much in year one, going from SPHL to the AHL. And then, then I think the year later I got released in Allen. So that's kind of where like the low point of my career was. I went a full calendar year without a win.
Wow.
From my sophomore year. I think I went 0-21 in that span. Or 0-22.
Was there something contributing to that? Was it a weak team or just not having the...
That year I was on the worst 2 teams in the league. But I mean, I'm sure I could have muscled out a win maybe, or maybe things just weren't going well, but
looking back on those, I mean, those are learning years, obviously.
Yeah. Like I think it would have been pretty easy to call it quits after a year like that. But then, especially like kind of ending up back in the SPHL after, that's when I went to Budapest, was the following year after the 0-20 something year or calendar year.
And that's what you talk about, getting your confidence back up.
Yeah. And then, went there, had a good year, and then ended up in England, or I can't even remember what was in between there, but something was.
Man, like honestly, I don't mean to call you up, but it's such a whirlwind. I'm sure it's really hard to kind of piece together. I mean, at some point you got to start using AI to help you jot all this down.
Yeah, well, that's why we got elite prospects, right?
Excellent point.
They did for you.
Yeah, excellent point. Your journey as far as being the only goaltender or the only hockey player really in the family out of the 4 of you, did you feel like Dad would kind of like focused more on you when it came to that, or was he hands off? What kind of hockey dad was he?
I mean, he's pretty hands off. Like, he always believed that like absorbing information from as many people as possible is, a healthy way to learn how to play hockey. So, anytime like I had goalie coaches or coaches, like he just wanted me to get coached by them. And if, even if you don't like the guy or like the way he teaches, he'd say, like pick one thing he said or one thing that might have stuck with you, and then move on to the next guy or go about your day or whatever, even if you don't like, his style of coaching. And, going through so many like rookie camps, NHL camps, things like that, like you meet so many different coaches that coach in so many different styles. So, I feel like kind of being a sponge is a big attribute to have. And when it comes to pro hockey, like learning on the way. And, like I'm at the point now where like I got so many people, like, kids I play with, or kids that I have played with, that ask me for advice, whether it be, for things around the ECHL or things about goaltending or how your mind's thinking about certain situations and things like that. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. I've really appreciated, being so fortunate to play hockey for this many years. If you told me at the start of my career that I would still be playing right now, I wouldn't believe you. So.
Is there a goalie coach that stands out in all your ventures with NHL development camps, the American League East Coast, et cetera, where you look back and you say, man, that guy was smart. That guy was ahead of his time. That guy was a really just intelligent individual.
Yeah, 100%. I think the guy that I still work with now is his name's Brian Eklund. He's our goalie coach down in Utica. So I had him way back when. So after that Budapest season, that's when COVID hit, and I ended up doing the short season with the Binghamton Devils. I think they were back in the day. So but they were playing at a Prudential Center, so I kind of got to be like the third, fourth goalie. That's when I got my first AHL games in. So he was kind of a guy that I was pretty much every day just working with him because we had so many bodies. So I would get all my work in with him. So, I mean, obviously I feel like it's kind of like building relationships, right? Is like kind of how you evaluate a goalie coach. And then, but I have worked with some really cool ones. I mean, what's the guy's name with the Rangers? Is it
Benoit Lair? Benoit Lair?
Yeah. Benoit. So he was a cool person to work with just because knowing like kind of his pedigree and everything. And then another one was Phil Ranford he was the goalie coach in, LA at the time when I did a rookie camp.
Yeah, we had him on the show this past summer, and he's, man, talk about a guy to learn from. That'd be fantastic. Curious to know, on all your travels throughout the world, did you bring your golf clubs with you everywhere you went?
Not everywhere. I mean, I did. I didn't really get. It's kind of tough though. Like when I went to go play in England, like I have 2 hockey bags in my whole life I have to pack. Like to bring golf clubs is like so hard.
Sure.
But I did get to play golf a couple of times.
Good.
But if I'm in America though, my clubs are with me. That's for sure.
You and your brother have pretty competitive rounds?
No, not really. He's like a +4 handicap. He texted me that he shot 65, so I don't think we're in the same realm.
And what's your cap sitting at?
Mine's at +0.4 or something.
Good for you.
Got the golf bug back again this summer. Had one good round at the beginning of the year. 3 new wedges, new driver, everything. Kind of got back into it a little bit. So,
well, I don't know if you'll be happy or sad to know this, but Eric Comrie, backup goaltender for the Winnipeg Jets, played in the Manitoba Open, which happened this summer here in Manitoba at Breezy Bend, and he was a sponsor's exemption, and he's a 4 handicap, and he shot a +25 on day 1, and then shot a 13 over on day 2. Finished dead last, but he went out and had a blast.
Yeah, I just started doing competitive tournaments again this summer. And it's I feel like there's actually nothing like competitive, like sweating over 3-foot putts. Like if you miss this one, you got to make the next one or whatever it is, or like not being able to just rip driver everywhere. To me, it's so much fun, playing competitive golf.
Well, that's one thing that blows me away when you actually go out, and I just played in my club championships, and some of the guys forget. Yeah, there's no gimmies. Like you have to make that 3-footer. Sorry, like I ain't telling you to pick it up.
Yeah, it's a different type of. It's a different type of golf for people who don't know how to play that way. Like even if your ball's in the fairway and you get stuck in a bad spot in the fairway, and it just changes everything.
Oh, look, listen, Bryson brought up a really good point this summer in an interview where he said, I don't understand why I get penalized for making a good shot down the fairway. The fact that I can't lift clean it, or at least lift and place outside of a divot, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that.
Especially when you got guys all hitting to the same area. I mean, they're all hitting 300 plus and they're all collecting in the same area. It basically becomes a tee box with all the divots that are in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, golf's kind of crazy like that. I mean, they're so good where it's not too big a deal, but
I wanted to bring this up. Now, I've said this to a few different people, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts, and then I want to transition to the way kind of hockey's moving and then the way they're kind of, working with it. But I get as much enjoyment, if not more, watching the Grant Horvats and Garrett Clarks and Bob Does Sports and, Bryson DeChambeau doing his challenges on YouTube than I am actually watching tour golf now. And watching the NHL really kind of keep the players like under their bulb and not allowing them to expand. Do you see more and more guys kind of in the East Coast League vlogging more and doing more? Because we certainly have. And do you think that's becoming more of a trend?
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, social media is becoming such a prevalent part of, everyone's lives, and especially in this day and age, right? So like, you see like all the swaggy peas now. It's kind of the similar idea to the golf, right? Like it's still hockey, but it's all like, like the Grant Horvat stuff. I'm sure like they redo shots all the time just for videos. Like they're not gonna not post they're not gonna ruin a video because he snap hooks one drive, right? So like they're gonna do reshoots and all that stuff. But like as far as hockey, like you do see so many more like the content stuff and guys posting, doing all these things. Like I think I was at that 3-ice thing this summer, and Cascasu had his little thing over the net, his 360 cam.
Yep.
See all his videos out there.
What do you think? Is that something that interests you? I mean, something that you'd want to explore? I mean, in your mind, does it help, with the bank account a little bit, or maybe help, your longevity in the game, maybe kind of transitioning in a certain way, or are you just kind of focused on what's in the cage?
I mean, I've always kind of been under the impression that the social media stuff, as far as hockey goes, and like the people who are paying you to play hockey, like I don't think they want to see you being out and about. And I always felt like, I think I would say a bit more for me, just because with my last name and my dad still being in hockey and things like that, like I don't really want to be like a social media star and like, start posting all these things. Like I have a hard time posting like like I get uncomfortable posting like a highlight clip from my 3-ice thing this summer, right? Like don't even want to do that.
You got to flex a little, man. You got to, especially with your numbers, you got to flex.
Yeah, I know, but it's I mean, like I think I always grew up being like the last thing I wanted was a phone call from my dad. Kind of being like, "Hey, I just got a phone call from this person saying they saw you doing this on this," or whatever it was, and that was kind of always like a fear of mine growing up. So I kind of never really was too crazy on social media or any of that stuff.
Well, you've played with, I guess it would be 2 influencers now. You skated with Cascasul, you just mentioned, and then former co-host of this show, Pat Shea.
Yeah, I did play with Shea. So, but even then, like I guess like he kind of did all his stuff on his own. Like he never had a camera in anyone's face, or, like if he like wanted to do a workout thing or something, like he would wait till everyone left and then he would do it, or whatever it was. Or like I think there was one time he posted a video of like saying how messy his roommate was in the room. That was me, but I wasn't in the room at the time. But yeah, no, I've never really been. I mean, I'm sure maybe after I'm done playing hockey, I might get more into the social media stuff if that's kind of like what I want to do or whatever it is. But I've never really been too tech savvy either, so it's always been a hurdle.
Have you put a deadline or at least a goal in mind of something that you want to attain before you finally say today's the day, or is there some sort of metric that lets you say, okay, I'm going not until this happens?
So generally, I think I always told myself once things start getting worse, like I kind of not that I got to a peak, but I kind of told myself if I can't make the same amount of money or more money the next year to a certain degree, I would probably call it quits, or like if things don't improve year after year. And I do feel like over the last 4 years, like I've kind of taken steps forward, which has allowed me to, kind of want to still play, because like I don't really want to play just to play. I want to play to get better and be good, right? So that's kind of where my mentality is with hockey. Like I kind of want to play until like I don't want to be like the guy where it's like, all right, like just let the kids play now, right? Like like I don't want to kind of like hang on to it for too long if it's not going well, type of thing. But another goal of mine is to, I would like to say, when I'm 50, that I played 10 years of pro hockey.
So is it fair to say the money is the gauge for, okay, this is what my services are worth, we're on that steady climb up type of deal?
I mean, I think they both go hand in hand, right? It's like, yeah, like if you do better, you're gonna make more money or whatever it is. Or if you do worse, like you won't. So I think I feel like the money is just a good gauge kind of on how things are going, rather than, like I can still play if I wanted to, but that type of thing. I don't know. I feel like, I do want to make it to 10 years, but I also want to keep, laddering up as much as possible. Cause like, I don't feel like I would love hockey if I was just like declining type of thing.
Well, like you said off the top, you're having fun with it right now. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty good metric to kind of use as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, until it becomes not fun or not worth it, I mean, I'll play till, whenever I can. It's getting a bit tougher now, going to get married next year, and, things will move along with that, having a family and all that stuff might play a factor eventually, but I would really like, I think a big goal of mine is to say I played 10 years.
Sitting next to a guy who's had double hip surgery, how's your health?
Good. I mean, no surgeries for me. I mean, last year I missed my first game of pro hockey from health, which was I broke my finger in warm-ups, and we're on the road and they didn't have a splint for me, so I couldn't hold my stick. So I had to sit out that game. That was the only game I missed in my 8 years so far.
Well, you've dodged a bullet as far as, hips, because it seems more and more with this new style, like of all the big guys that you were talking about earlier, they seem to be hip. Do you think that's something to do with your size or just your style of play?
I think it's both, like just the way the game's evolving and how much you got to butterfly and, use your post and all these things. Like I think your hips just get mangled. And I don't even, my hips aren't, I might need hip surgery. I don't even know, but they feel all right so far.
Oh, you'd know. There's a certain NHL goalie. I think you can probably figure out who, Dave, but he mentioned to me any NHL goalie 6'3" plus, they've had one, if not both, hips done. So the fact that you're feeling good and you haven't had either, I know you're not 6'3", but that's a rarity in goaltending.
It is, especially at this age.
Isn't it such a unique position? I was chatting with a gal the other day. She'd been doing quite a bit of modeling, and she had just turned 25, and she's like, basically, I'm used goods. And I thought to myself, well, you're beautiful. You're not used goods. But in the goaltending world, like, it's kind of like the same thing. Like, you get to that 25 towards 30, like, you're on the used goods market.
Yeah, I mean, it's yes and no, though, because, like, a lot of guys start there nowadays. Like, guys start at 24, 25. I mean, like, I just remember like last year I played like the preseason game for the Devils against the Rangers. Like they had that kind of most of their AHL team in, and so we had all of our AHL guys because they were over in Europe. And I think we won like 3-1, and people were like, "Oh my god, like that's so cool!" And then like the other person would come like, "He's 28, like he's washed."
You feel like you're starting to be the old man in the room, like you mentioned that mentorship earlier, but it's a tough age to be at in the locker room.
It's pretty prevalent that I'm the old guy in the room now. Because like even the guys that are my age now, like the guys that are even 28, 29, like they started at 25, not 20. So like they're still like not new, but like they're newer to the pro hockey scene and the way things work. So like, last year I did all I was our team rep for like the players union and stuff. So like I get the calls every day from everyone. Hey, like I got stitches here. How am I going to file my workers' comp and all these things? And
is that something that interests you at all, as far as like the business side of it? Because obviously, your old man's still working in the game, doing that side of it. Does that interest you?
A little bit, not entirely, but It was a pretty cool experience actually, being like the rep for the team. I kind of it got handed to me by accident. The guy who was doing it put me down as like the second man if he were to get traded or cut or anything, and he got traded. So sprung that on me real quick, but it was pretty fun actually to you kind of learn the ins and outs of how like teams operate and whatnot.
Are you holding court on Monday mornings?
No, we don't do that. Just don't show up late.
We got a signature question we ask on the show, and sorry, Dave, I'm going to beat you to it. But do you remember your first pro contract, the first signing bonus, and what you spent it on?
First pro contract had $0 signing bonus, so it's kind of tough.
Was there ever a signing bonus?
Well, okay, so there wasn't. There wasn't ever. I was really, I think my first year, like I was maybe getting offered an AHL deal, and it would have been like a $25,000 one. I got really excited about it, but then the deal fell through, so that never worked out. But I will say, like when I first started making hockey money, then like my first thing I bought was a dog.
What kind?
It was a Husky Akita mix. And she was awesome. And then I signed, so I was in Allen, Texas, and then I signed back in Allen. And then I goes, oh, by the way, like unless you're married, like you can't have a dog. So I had to give it to my neighbor. So now my neighbor over here, it's like her dog, but I still see her a bunch and whatnot. So
Wait, so was that a team rule? If you don't have a wife, no dogs?
yeah, because you're living in their apartments, right? So they are allowed to make those rules if they wanted to. So I mean, I bought the dog middle of my first year when it was like a little thing, but then yeah, so like my mom obviously was too busy to take care of it while I was gone for the season, so like we had to give it. We ended up giving her to one of my neighbors, which was a great decision in hindsight.
And what about now? You got a pooch at home?
Not yet. We're thinking about it, but we'll see.
Well, let me tell you, and this is a little bit of my age and wisdom coming in, but when my wife and I had to make the tough decision to have our Great Dane put down, the last thing I whispered in her ear was, "Thank you for preparing me to be a father." So if you and your fiance are ever thinking about that down the road, it's a great stepping stone as far as responsibility and that kind of stuff. So don't wait. Don't think about it too long.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
And get a big dog too. They're fun.
Yeah, I like big dogs.
He likes corgis.
I want a pack of corgis, but I got to find the wife and the kids first before I get the corgis. So we got a couple steps.
The little guys, the wiener dogs, those things are sweet.
Oh, with the back issues, yeah. Man, some of those vertical guys, like they got some speed to them. I need a speedy dog or like an impressive dog. Those like fluffy white things where you're like, how has your species survived evolution? I don't know, but I want a cool dog. But I got a question for you, J-Bone. Hockey aside, I like to think that your father is a pretty experienced, seasoned gentleman. Is there any advice or any words of wisdom he's given you outside of the rink that stick out, that kind of stand out in your mind?
Nothing too outstanding, but like as far as hockey, like he would literally always just say like stop the puck. Like it's so simple. Like he goes, you have no other.
Yeah, Trav. Stop
Like,
the puck.
literally just stop the puck. That's literally all he would say. No, but like he was I mean, it is like really obviously unique to have him as like a father, because like he wasn't so hands-on, but like like he was the type of guy where it's like if I had a bad game, he would kind of just be a dad, and then if I had a good game, he'd be like, well, like you got lucky because like like you did this wrong and like the guy missed the net or whatever it was. So, like he's kind of like be nice about it like when things aren't going well, and then when things are going well, he's kind of harder.
So what I'm gathering is not necessarily hands-on, but still supportive.
Yeah, no, like we still talk every day. Like he watches the games, and like he'll always tell me what he thinks about it, or like little concepts of like, hey, you letting it go this way because like you were leaning on this side, but like this guy's a lefty, and a lefty's most comfortable shot is always going to be like across his body. That's his easiest shot. So like you got to lean more that way compared to this way. Or like just like little things like that. He had
Do you have any memories of having the Stanley Cup at the house?
Yeah. We ate Fruit Loops out of it. I remember back in Canada, we took it to a ball pit at a Burger King. I remember up in Montreal. Other than that, I don't really remember too much. I was pretty young.
Wow.
What year was that? 2003?
Yeah, 2003 and 2000. I was like 4.
It took it to a Burger King.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What are you getting it?
No, I don't even remember that part. I think I just remember it being in the ball pit.
Oh, the things that trophy has seen, my God, more than a few lifetimes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, no kidding.
Can I give you credit for one thing though, J-Bone? I remember in the FaceTime calls we've had over the years, I know it's been a little bit, but I remember you saying that you pride yourself on not using the last name or not using your dad to leverage. Like you want to be the man that accomplishes your own things and build your own legacy, and I want to tip my hat to you on that aspect of things.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Because I feel like most people probably see Jeremy Brodeur, oh, like he's just the son of Marty Brodeur, and then obviously they would assume XYZ, and I just wanted to point that out because I know obviously this is going out to the internet, that you have made a very big point, at least in our conversations, to pride yourself on being independent in that aspect.
Yeah, no, always kind of wanted to pave my own way in hockey, and I have done to a certain degree, I think, at least in the minor hockey scene. But it is, yeah, no, I mean, like I always grew up, people kind of saying, "Oh, that's Marty Brodeur's kid" and whatnot. So, never been one to just, to get into a bar or something, be like, "Hey, like my dad's yada yada yada" or whatever it is. I've never been a person to really do that. But
Did your dad ever find it weird that you had Patrick Waugh posters in your bedroom?
I don't think I ever did. I'm sure he did though.
Well, what do you use them for, though? We'll leave off the podcast.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, Patrick Waugh or Marty Brodeur, who was better? And I want a logical reason why.
I mean, I just think it's so hard, right? Like, I just think, records speak for themselves. Granted, like, you could say, yeah, better team, better system, whatever. Like, I think he lost their only matchup in their Stanley Cup, I believe.
Game 7, 2001, yep.
In 2001. But, like, at the end of the day, like, I think longevity speaks for itself. I think, like, to me, hockey, it's a sport. Sports are competitive. When you're being competitive, what are you trying to do? Winning is number one. And then longevity, I think, is up there too. So, I got to give it to Pops.
No, that's fair. Hey, I that feels very logical and very non-biased.
Like at the end of the day, like sports, like it's you versus someone else. Like the end goal, no matter how bad you do in a game, if you let in 12 goals, if your team scores 13, like that's what matters.
Grant Fuhr goaltending, you built a career off it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've always thought as far as like accolades, I think those matter, are the two most important things to me.
Okay, some rapid fire stuff for you here real quick.
One more thing before I
go
forget.
for it. Yeah.
I want to give a little bit of credit to your old man because he did a podcast a couple months ago, and I mentioned this to you today in the pre, but he tells a story how, he'd seen Patrick Waugh, I think it was last summer, the summer before, and Patrick Waugh is kind of like the Leonardo DiCaprio. He, 25 is like the max and then kind of change it out, but he's introducing your dad to his new girlfriend, says, "Hi, so-and-so, this is Marty Brodeur. This is the second greatest goaltender of all time. So-and-so, this is..." I just thought, like, the way your dad told the story and that he just wore it and he just had a good laugh at himself, I thought, like, it's pretty cool.
I think with everything he's done, it's pretty easy to laugh almost anything off.
Okay, rapid fire. The favorite jersey equipment combo that you ever had throughout your playing career that sticks out in your mind that you like the most?
Ooh, so actually last year was my favorite. We had these specialty jerseys in Utica that went unbelievable with the setup I had last year, and like personally, it's probably going to go down as one of my favorite pictures from my pro career, I think.
Okay. Favorite city to travel to on the road?
My favorite one in the ECHL was Newfoundland, St. John.
Wow, yeah, that's before they returned to Manitoba when they were the Ice Caps.
Yeah, no, they folded last year, I believe.
Oh, the East Coast team. Yeah, okay, yeah.
The Growlers, right?
Yeah, the Growlers.
Yeah, it's the George Street, one of the best streets to party on in all of Canada.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Okay, your favorite locker room as far as the guys around. Do you have you can go back to junior too if you want.
Definitely 2 years ago here in Adirondack in our ECHL team, I think it was the most fun group of guys I've ever played with.
Favorite piece of equipment that you still have around?
Still have my junior helmet. It was the last helmet I got painted, actually, I would say.
Out of all the places that you visited in Europe, is there one that stands out to you that you'd want to go back and spend a little more time in?
I would say England. Like getting to go around England. I think more so for the UK, more so for the golf and everything. But
well, that was my next one. Favorite golf course you've ever played?
I actually just played it the other day. It's a course on Long Island called Sabonic.
Anything else for the sir?
That's all I got. I was going to ask Montreal or Quebec City, but you kind of settled that with the Marty versus Patrick debate.
Yeah, but I love Quebec City.
I love the style, like in the European style, how everybody dresses.
Yeah.
Well, I've said this before. A lot of my buddies that wanted to go tour Europe, and I think you can speak to this well, and I think you kind of answered the question, but I say before you go over to Europe, just go to Eastern Canada, man. Like start in Newfoundland and work your way back to Quebec City because it feels like Europe.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I agree with that. That's a good point. I mean, I love Quebec City because we won our Memorial Cup back in junior in Quebec City at the Colisée.
Was Patrick Waugh the coach back then?
He was.
Wow.
Suck it, Patrick.
Or actually, I think he was. Or they retired his jersey there during that tournament. So I don't know if he was coaching then or not, but.
Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on the show. And by the way, happy belated birthday because this will be going up right around your birthday. So happy 29th, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Enjoy your last year of your 20s, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching this episode of our interview series with Jeremy Brodeur. There are many more episodes coming up, but we do new ones every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 in the prairies here in Winnipeg, 9 in the foothills of Calgary, 8 in the Pacific Northwest. I'm Travis. That's Dave. That's Jeremy Brodeur. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Sunday.